Hi and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carol Fraser, and I'm with our guest today, Niota Cover, who's a mother of a 12-year-old girl who's suffering with eczema. So we're just going to hear from Niota really what this journey has been like for her as a parent of a child living through eczema and where it all began really. So Niota, I just want to ask you, when did it all start with your daughter and her eczema?
It started when she was maybe about 4 or 5. So I began to realize, like, just see dry patches on her elbow area and on her upper thigh.
Right.
Yeah. I then went to the GP, and then they give you, the what is it? The Humavate and all the paraffin, and it actually was getting worse. So I changed her diet, removed like dairy, removed gluten and everything, because I started reading up on it, and it said gluten and dairy. So that happened, still didn't see no change. Went back to the GP, asked for this is going on for years, mind you, till she was about 7, 8. Went back to the GP and asked for a referral to the dermatologist team, and asked if she could have a blood test to see if there were any specific foods that were triggering her eczema. Well, this referral took over a year. Their eczema then started to get a bit worse. Somebody recommended me to a Ghanaian fella, and this fella gave me something called a cream called Wawa. He said it was a natural cream. You know,
So he was a homeopath, or
pardon me?
so this gentleman you went to see, he was some sort of herbalist or homeopath.
Yes.
You seem to have lost the sound. I can't
Sorry,
hear
when
you.
sorry, somebody tried to video call me, so that's what's
All,
happened.
all
Okay, yeah,
right.
he was a herbalist that, many people said had cured their children, and
Mm,
positive recommendations. Anyway, I used it on my daughter's skin, and it seemed
mm.
to be okay. But then I started seeing the skin discolor. It's like it started fading, like it had been bleached. So I had to question whether there were steroids in this product. So
Right.
anyway, I stopped using it because I didn't like the discoloration. I didn't like the patches, and it did smoothen the skin, but I didn't like what I was seeing. So I
Mm,
stopped using it, and when I stopped using it, her whole skin went black. And my
goodness.
daughter is fairly is quite fair in complexion, so the
Mm.
difference, she went really dark in
So where
specific
did she
areas.
start to discolor? Was that in her face, her body?
No, I've never used any of those products on her face. Doctor's products, no products on her face. But I put it on the areas, so the areas that were showing signs of dryness and patchiness and stuff. So it was like on her arms, like her elbows, her upper thigh, the back of her knees, and
Yeah.
yeah, it really got worse. So anyway,
Goodness.
I tried. I started. I got people were sending me castor oil from Dominica, coconut from Dominica, and yeah, these products were good, but it weren't moisturizing her. She wasn't getting that intensity, that moisture.
Mm.
And then one day, when I actually the day I paid to go private to get a blood test, because when I eventually did get a blood test, let me backtrack a bit. From the
Yeah.
dermatology team, they told me that my daughter had a dust allergy, and dust, grass, which was really surprising because she ain't in no area where there's grass, but there's a dust, grass, and pet allergy, if I'm correct in saying.
Right.
So anyway,
How old was she at that time when she had that allergy test?
about 9.
Right.
But I weren't happy with that, Carol. I just didn't think, like, I started looking at keeping a diary and like of foods that she ate, and for what
Mm.
may trigger her. Literally, I changed her diet. I when I mean I changed her diet, like she was drinking. I don't know if you're aware of something called noonie. So I'd wash out her
Yes.
blood with noonie every 6 months. She drank water. We're talking about fruit. She ate specific fruits. I calmed down on the citrus fruits.
Mm.
Replaced the pastas and the rice with like sweet potato mash and sweet potato fries. And I changed it. I tried, and Carol, it didn't work. Did not work. The only time when I'd see a difference is if we went on a holiday. So I don't know if it's a vitamin D from the sun, but
Mm.
that's when I'll see the difference. But obviously, we're not fortunate enough to be in a warm climate, and get the ray of sun. So anyway, I was just about to pay private again because I thought something was something besides the stuff that they identified was triggering her. Just as I paid, done the consultation, I came across you on Facebook. And I said, well, you know what? I might as well try my luck. I've tried everything else. Let me try. And Carol, as God is my witness, this cream has just worked miracles. It's just combined with her diet and the change of diet. Carol, I can use it like with other creams. I would use it like I'd be moisturizing her, packing her with cream for school. So she would have to moisturize like every hour, 2 hours. Carol, as God is my witness, my daughter moisturizes with the cream in the morning and in the evening when she has her bath, and her skin is beautiful. It's
Wow.
absolutely beautiful. I mean, forget the 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 superficials and the scarring and I'm talking about the impact it had on her psychologically, where she didn't want to show her arms, or she weren't confident, or
Mm.
hiding. She wouldn't even wear skirts because she wanted to hide the patches on her knees. I mean, like now, after like when did I buy the product? I believe I started using your product in July, and we're
That's
now in
right.
this. Yeah, we're now in December, and I I tell you
So six
something,
months,
Carol.
almost 6 months
Yeah,
on, just 5 months and a bit.
and I've seen a significant difference. Big
When did
difference.
you, so tell me, so from the time you bought Dermazeam, because that's what you've been using,
Yeah.
and I do always tell people that Dermazeam is 100% plant-based and organic. So I'm using the purest of ingredients, and it's all oil-based, coconut and shea, frankincense and lavender, and that is it. And that is what helped my daughter to overcome eczema, along with a plant-based diet, because I eat plant-based and I tend to go for all things natural. But what I'm really intrigued to know is from the time you bought it in July to the time you started using it, and you've been using it morning and night, is that correct?
Yeah.
When was the first signs of the change having used Dermazeam, and what were they?
Just smooth. So within the first week, I would say just it wasn't as rough. It began to feel, smoother the first week. Then the second week, it just got improved more and more. The only thing I'd say what took a bit longer was the fading of the darkness.
And when did the so the smoothing started within
After a week,
days,
after a week.
a week, a week? And was it hydrating the skin enough, or did you have to
Yes.
apply it straight away?
When I first started using Dermazeam, I was using it 3 times. So in the morning, the afternoon, and before she went to bed after her bath. And then as time gradually, passed, it started improving. I started using the soap. I purchased a soap off your web page as well.
African black soap.
Yes, the African black soap.
That's
And
the handmade plant-based.
yes, combining
Yeah.
it with the soap, I just began to see like a big change. So I would say a week of smoothness, of it feeling a bit more hydrated, a bit moisturized, and then after that it's just sailing. Started just I don't see my put it this way. from since the first week, I then started. I got the African soap. Then started to do that. Then about maybe September, I then said maybe I should exfoliate my daughter to get rid of the dark patches. So I bought the you made that blend for me.
That's right.
The
That's when you had the Dead Sea salt with lang
yes,
ylang, vetiver, and lavender oils with coconut.
yes,
And
you made
I
that blend.
cut in the hibiscus for the antioxidant value as well. So you started using the scrub when?
I started using the scrub around September, and I started
Right.
exfoliating her twice a week. Most times it would be in the evening, just before she was going to bed. I started to exfoliate her, and Carol, it just worked wonders. Like even the scarring now, the scarring is slowly starting to fade.
Wow, that's really
But
good.
but I tell you what, I don't know. I had this conversation with you because one thing about you, you always follow up and you check in and try and gather feedback, which is really good. And after our conversation back in September, you recommended the Dermazeam Velvet. If Velvet,
The
is it the one with the
Dermazeam
blue strip?
Velvet, that's correct. Because the
And I'm telling
Dermazeem
you,
Velvet, yeah.
since using the Dermazeam Velvet, I will never go back. The Dermazeem Velvet is amazing. Like my daughter even used it. Like I normally cream her because I like to massage her skin, and but she's getting big now. She's 12. She's got to be more independent and understand her skin and how to apply creams. So within the last, I'll say from since she started secondary in September, I have started to make her apply it herself.
Right.
Hold on one sec, go. Sit down. It's my dog, sorry. Yeah, I started making her apply it herself, and she even noticed the difference. She said, Mum, I actually prefer this cream to the Dermazeam, the original one. And yeah, it's just I can't praise it enough. And like honestly, my daughter has not gone back and used any of them steroids. She has not been back to the GP until the GP called me last month and said, in the last 6 months, you have not come to the GP. Is everything okay? Do you need a follow-up of prescriptions? I said, no, thank you. I don't need it. They was even inquisitive. It like literally, it was a proper follow-up call. Inquisitive as to what products I was using. I just said natural products. It's okay. So it was even shocking that the GP gave me a call.
And he was very curious himself.
Yes, he was.
So I just want just for the so people understand what Dermazeam Velvet is. So as I mentioned, Dermazeam, which is the original cream I created for my daughter at the time she overcame her eczema, if I can explain, was coconut oil, shea butter, frankincense, and lavender oils. And with the Dermazeam Velvet, I've added jojoba oil, neem oil, and vitamin E. That's a more intense formula. Tell me what it is that is it just the feeling of the Dermazeem Velvet, or the changes that the Dermazeem Velvet have made for your daughter? What did you?
The texture of the Dermazeem Velvet is different as well. I have to say, there's a difference in the texture.
That's right.
It's
a slightly richer texture.
Yes, and it gives her like I can literally use a pea size and moisturize it on the whole arm.
Yeah.
And it just gives that intensity. I don't know, that moisture, but it also adds shine, a glow. So
I'm wearing it. I don't know if you can see my glow.
No,
I've got the sun on my face. I mean, this is all I use now. I just use my own homemade products, and I've been doing it for years. I've kept it under a bushel for too long, and I had a lot of pressure from people to launch it, and I did last year, and I don't know why I didn't do it earlier.
You should
but
have.
The glow, you're saying she likes the glow. It gives you that sun-kissed, beautiful, been on holiday type of look.
Yes, definitely. And the fact that she had commented on the texture and had realized the difference was enough. Like children don't pay attention. As I said to you, I was the one moisturizing her before because I just felt like, children, they just don't understand. I don't know. She wasn't confident. She wasn't happy. But at the same time, she lacked understanding, and within the last 6 months I just had to educate her
Mm.
about, you know, using the products, moisturizing, exfoliating. We even use the Dermazeam. Put it this way, I've never used any product on my daughter's face, and I use a Dermazeam. Stop. I use the Dermazeam on her face.
Right.
Like
That's good.
I've never trusted. Sorry, I've I've
No,
I've never trusted anything on her face, but I've trusted the Dermazeem.
that's amazing news. I wish she was here. But that's really good to hear that she's come from such a long way from, you know, from her childhood right through now to the age of 12. And it seems to, I don't know, the way you tell the story, it's almost like it happened overnight. But obviously, you've been through such a journey. And another question I would like to know that I'm intrigued about is because of her age as well, being 12. And of course, you know, at that age, they want to use the products that their peers are using, that we all hear advertised, that's nourishing to our skin, that's softening, etc., etc. I've left them all behind now because I found my what works for me and what's been good for me. Were there any products on the market that she experimented with? Do you know
Um,
what
no,
they
no,
were?
she didn't experiment with none apart from what the doctors had recommended. However,
Just the
when
doctor's
she,
prescription.
however, back in March, she
Yeah.
started to, you know, get her hormones. She's 12, you know, so she started to get some spots
Right.
on her face. So she never had eczema on her face, but she started to get spots, and it was reducing her confidence. So I said, okay, then let me check something out, and I started using this product called
Ren.
Ren, yes,
And
and
that's an
natural product.
over-the-counter product?
Yes, you could. I was getting it from John Lewis, and
Right.
it was costing me an arm and a leg as well. It's like it's quite expensive. It's quite costly. She started using that, and it wasn't making a difference. But we came across, like, when I was checking out your website as well, we started looking at, like, not just the cosmetic side of things, not just the creams. We started looking at your healthy eating. Like, you would send out emails about ways to combat eczema by the things our diet, and we just started looking at your plant-based stuff, and you're having your plant-based ideas. So, you know, I started saying to Kamara, you see, it's not just about the cream, it's about what your diet, what your diet is, what you put into your body. So she has been more conscious. But as I say, like, Kamara's not a child that, she doesn't eat McDonald's. She doesn't eat out. My children don't eat out. That's one thing I don't do. They have home cooked meals. They're at lunch at schools. They, you know, we've tried everything.
Mhm.
But sometimes she might, I know, like, she gets pocket money and she'll go to school and probably buy lots of sweets. That's what
Yeah.
children do. You know, they buy sweets and probably eat crisp, things that she wouldn't necessarily do when she's in the home. But in terms of over the counter and, like, being influenced by her peers or me, social media, or what she sees via the media, she said, oh, mum, can I have a face wash? And, you know, can I, you know, cleanse? Can I use a toner with cotton wool? And I said, well, I started buying the Ren, and the Ren's okay. But then I didn't really, there wasn't no oomph. There wasn't no, it didn't, despite the good chemical, the good, not even chemicals, because it doesn't have any, the good ingredients, should I say, in their product.
And that's
It,
Lorraine.
no, just Ren, Ren.
Oh, Ren. Sorry, I thought you'd said
It, it
Lorraine.
it it was clumpy on her skin. I
Right.
don't know how to explain it. It just, it didn't hydrate her skin. It just sat on the skin, if that makes sense.
And this is a product that's 100% natural.
Yeah, it's a product that I actually use. I use Ren and Murad. I used to use that, but yeah, and then she moving forward, I stopped using that, and then
Mm.
I contacted you, didn't I? And I said, Carol, you're like, the impact of Dermazeam on her skin and the African black soap is so good. You know what? Let me can you make up a face oil or a face wash for her? Like,
That's what you did.
I did. I contacted you, and we haven't gone back. We've got our face oil. You created a bath oil for us, and that's our range. That is our range. I've even started using it myself. Like, and I use Murad and I scream Murad, and I will, you know, I use their stuff. But in combination with using yours and the clay mask, that clay mask, oh, I don't
Yeah, the
know.
Caribbean clay mask.
I can't say how much I'm impressed. And people will probably think, oh no, is this really the impact that it's having on her? I'll tell you, it's changed my daughter's life.
Oh,
And
that's really good to hear.
and the best thing is, Carol, what I like is the consultation. You don't just sell your products. You contact people and you check in with people to see, you know, what's working, what's not working, you know, and you always have suggestions. You always, you know, you send the links for the YouTube page, and I actually go in and I log on everything and I check, and it's just the influences. I'm glad lockdown happened. I'm glad I joined the Black business group, and I'm glad I came across your products, because I'm
That's
telling
right,
you,
because you found me on, there was somebody who'd sent me a link to the a Black business economy, I think it was called.
something like that. Yeah, support Black
And they encouraged
economy.
everybody to share their links and what they did. And that's where you had found me.
Yeah, correct.
And there
And
was actually a few other people who have become customers there, believe it or not. And if one of them is here watching today, because she's part of the Facebook group that you've joined, because we've got our eczema support Facebook group. Joy Lazarus is a lady who had came on with me through a telephone call and gave her story as well. And she'd been going through eczema for years. So yeah, that group had brought a few other customers along the way who are now members of the group. So I'm glad you found us.
I'm
We're
glad
a
to.
small family business, which consists of myself, my son, and my daughter. And yeah, I've been formulating this for years, and I've been using it, keeping it to myself. But I did start running some workshops on natural skincare and showing people. And so even on the group, what you'll find is, if you haven't seen it already, thyme cleanser, how to make your own thyme cleanser using organic thyme, just ordinary sprig of thyme, and infusing that and using that as a cleanser on your face, and you will not believe what it does, what it actually physically, what you see on your skin, how your skin feels and looks, and it even takes off eye makeup as well.
Oh, I'm
Quite
gonna try that.
easily.
I'm gonna browse back and check that out, because I actually drink thyme, so I boil it and I drink it.
That's
But
good.
I'd
It's good
love to,
respiratory.
yeah, I'd love to try this cleanser.
Just do it, yeah.
Definitely.
Just like you do your tea, and use it as a cleanser. Pop it in your fridge, and just see how, especially for your daughter now, because she will want to use face washes, and she can still use the black soap. But if she's wearing any type of makeup, use that to take it off, and it cleans like a dream. You wouldn't believe. But just put in the search bar thyme, and I'll put as well the link to the eczema support Facebook group where people can join. And those, you know, if you're interested in natural skincare, you tried everything, you just want something you feel may work, and we reassure people, because it may not work for everyone, that we give a 30-day money back guarantee. So we understand that people have tried a lot of things that haven't worked, they become frustrated, they don't know where to turn next. So we always give that reassurance with
Yeah, that's
Dermazeam.
great. That's really good. I'll tell you what as well. I always say Kamara had her eczema bad, and like a lot of people would always ask, "Oh, what's that on their skin?" and whatsoever. My sister, especially, my sister was really concerned about eczema, and my sister actually noticed a difference and inquired. So anyway, my godson, who is her godson also, she said to me, you know what, he's got bad eczema, you know, could you get me the product? So I said, okay, then I ordered quite a few of you recently. And he's had it what, the past week, and they've given positive feedback as well.
How old is your godson?
My godson is 20 years old, and he's suffered with eczema throughout his whole life. And
Wow.
you know, he was just, you know, I could see, although he displays confidence, and he, you know, like he's managed to deal with it and just accept his eczema, But when I sat down and I spoke to him and his mum, and I said, literally, like, look at Kamara's skin. I had to show them the difference, like, because I wasn't convincing them. And to Carol, what stopped them was they didn't want to pay the money. They did not want to pay the money for the Dermazeam. They said, oh, you're going to pay that. I said, no, I will buy it. I'm going to buy it for him. But then you're going to continue buying it once you see, you know, the difference in the products. So he's had that for a week, and she has said to me, like, literally, he's happy with it.
Right.
But I didn't give him the Dermazeam velvet. I gave him the normal Dermazeam.
The Dermazeam skin renewing cream. Yeah. And he's so far so good.
So far so good. And I've got my other godson who is 2 years old, and his mum's recently complained, it's actually coming today, recently complained about his skin that was changed. And again, I'm going to give her one of the Dermazeams. I bought 5. Yeah. I think I recently bought 5. So I gave one to my godson, and I'm going to give one to my little godson as well.
I mean, you literally have nothing to lose in trying it.
No, and you don't.
Give it a go. And it's good to be consistent as well. We've had people with more chronic eczema use it head to toe, and they buy the larger 500 ml, because I recognise that people might need a bigger volume of it, because if they're using it for full body. And you know, we've had a lady in the States, she buys 2 at a time, and it's working wonders for her. She just loves it now as a natural moisturizer, now that her skin's doing a lot better, and she hasn't looked back. Yeah. But I've got a couple of questions here. I don't know if you can see them there, Niota.
No, I can't see any.
I'll read them back. Somebody said, so somebody on Facebook has said, I heard you mentioned that you tried castor oil. Did it do anything for you? And how long did you try that before you realized it wasn't working?
I tried the castor. To be honest with you, I've always had castor oil. I use castor oil in her hair, so I mix it with coconut. But she's never used it on her skin until it really got bad. So when I did, somebody recommended it. One of my relatives in Dominica said, try it on her skin. You can even drink it, apparently.
She recommended Caribbean castor oil by any chance?
Yeah, sent straight from Dominica.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it just sat heavy on her skin. It didn't. Don't get me wrong. It was too heavy. If that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, because I would apply it with the coconut. The coconut was a no, not by itself. But when I applied it with the castor oil, it just I don't know. It didn't alleviate the issues.
Yeah,
the dryness. Is really strange. Yeah, which is really strange, because castor oil's got, you know, it's a miracle. It's a miracle castor oil. Like, I used that in her hair when she one day she got ringworm from school when her whole hair fell out, and I used castor oil and coconut, and literally it works miracles. But it did not work on her eczema.
I mean, not all things natural do what we want it to do, and there are some things that may need to be mixed, and there are some oils and creams that work better on different parts of our body.
And what I've learned with eczema, it's about the texture of the cream plays a big part as well. I don't know because I used to use, she used to use, what is it called? I can't remember. It's in a big tub. It's paraffin and something else in a big tub, and Dipro base. That was awful.
That's what my daughter used. Yeah.
It was awful. And then I tried the castor oil, and you know, it was too thick. It was too clumpy and heavy on her skin. Although, you know, you want the hydration, you also need to be able to breathe. The skin needs to be able to breathe. Yeah. And, you know, I feel like your cream... It was
very greasy for my daughter, and it just sat on it just seemed to sit on the top layer of the skin, not really penetrate and give the deep hydration she needed.
Yes, but the castor oil is a no-no. I would say I used it for about maybe 6 weeks, and I was just like, it's not making a difference.
And there's one other question on Facebook where somebody said, hi Niota, was your daughter eating a plant-based diet along with using the cream?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a plant-based. I mean, most of the stuff were organic products, but not plant-based, because plant-based would imply that she's having like natural, not like vegan
Oh, whole
lifestyle,
foods.
basically. Yeah. And my
Was
daughter ate
she was
meat.
still eating fish meat?
Meat, yeah, she was still eating meat, and she was still eating fish.
Dairy?
Do you know what she did? But I cut that down. I cut it right down. But if you have a little bit, it doesn't make a difference. Dairy's dairy, isn't it? But yeah, she didn't have a plant-based diet, no.
The
But
cream
I
still
made
was.
changes. I did make changes to her diet. So I replaced using like the majority of dairy products, so she doesn't drink milk. I was actually blending up my own milk, so I'll buy almonds and blend
Yeah.
it myself in a NutriBullet and stuff like that. But no, she didn't have a plant-based diet.
Okay, thank you for answering. Obviously, we know that diet does impact heavily
Definitely.
on sort of the long-term results of how your body starts healing.
Yeah.
But so far, you've done really well. You've made some changes in her diet, and dairy is one of the biggest triggers for some, for most, and it
Yeah.
is proven to be a trigger for a lot of reasons. And I'm going to give some more content in these in my YouTube videos on things that are medically proven to work, and also some more on diet, which I'm sharing a lot more in the group. And there's another question here. Did the Dermazeam Velvet work better than the original Dermazeam, or did she like it more because of the texture?
My daughter, as I said, I originally started using the Dermazeam. That made a significant difference to her skin. The eczema had cleared. However, the texture of the Dermazeam Velvet is amazing. Like, she actually prefers it. She actually prefers it. So would we say it's better? My daughter would say it's better. I would say, I wouldn't necessarily better, but I would say that I like it. Yeah, I'm moving forward. That's what I'm going to use.
That's your preference. You like
But
the
I'll
glow.
never forget that the Dermazeam.
Going on.
But I'll never forget that the original Dermazeam is the one that actually cleared the skin.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Niota, I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm even more pleased that it's helped your daughter in a lot of ways. You know, psychologically, and her confidence coming back. And at the age of 12, it's such a tender age because they're so more body conscious by then. You know, so
Yeah, they are.
Thank goodness you found something now, as her body's going through changes and she's feeling more self-conscious. Oops,
Not just
I think
that,
there might
Carol.
have been
I'd
someone
like to
else
say,
someone
go on.
said thank you so much, Niota.
No, thank you, Carol, because I tell you what, Carol, you've gone over and beyond. Not just your follow-up calls and the emails and the signposting and just the recommendations of diet, but you always give us discount. I have to say, you always give us discount. You've called me for feedback, and look, you've made me the facial, you made me the bath oil. You've gone over and beyond as well. So thank you very much, because obviously without those hands, my daughter's skin won't be nice, cleared and nice. So thank you as well.
You're more than welcome. And that's the aromatherapy side of my skills as a clinical aromatherapist. I do mix oils if people ask for them. And it might be something that I'll introduce as a bespoke service if people need it. But for now, people have asked me individually for specific oil blends, and I'm quite happy to do that. But we'll see where that goes in the future. If it's a needed service and people want it, then it's something I can introduce. But I'm just so happy that you're happy with these products. You've now got your go-to products, which is great. And it's safe and they're natural. And they're actually, it's not just the placebo effect, but they're actually doing wonders for your skin as well, which is amazing. So thank you so much for coming on here and telling your daughter's story as well.
Thank you.
Great.
Maybe one day she'll come and speak. Maybe one day she'll come and tell you herself about the impact it's had on her.
I would love to talk to her. What's her name?
Kamara.
I would love to tell Kamara I'm so pleased that it's working for her and she's
I
got her
will.
go-to products. Keep at it. I wish her all the best, and I would love to one day have a conversation with Kamara. That would be wonderful.
Definitely. That would be good. But
All
thank you
right.
again, Carol. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye-bye. And
All
thank you
right,
so
take
much
care.
for coming on here today.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye. Have a good
Bye.
day. Well, that was Niota, who told her story about her daughter from the age of 5 through to 12 years old. And she's now found what actually works for her. She's used Dermazeam products. The mother's now using the Dermazeam products, but they've been through a lot in terms of trying out the creams and the prescriptions that they were given by their GP. And just by stumbling across a link that I dropped in a Facebook page, on a business Facebook page, Niota found me. And I'm pleased to hear that the whole family are using it and she's passing it on to other family members with skin problems, and it's working well for them too. Well, thank you so much for tuning in here today. I'm going to be uploading a lot more content pertaining to natural skincare and the medical testing side of the ingredients that I'm using in the skincare and other things that may work for you too. And if you want to join the Facebook group, I'll add it in the link in the description. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, please add them in the comments below, and I'll see you all again next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now. Bye-bye.